How's it going, people? I'm back, and as you can tell, I'm in Dark Souls 2, and the reason for that, aside from it being a fun game, is because there is a community Dark Souls 2 week coming up here in a couple of days on February 25th to March 11th. I read on PC Gamer and the Dark Souls Reddit that there's planning to be a huge surge with the community, so I decided I'm going to fire this thing back up. I have not played all the way through the Scholar of the First Sin edition. I did play through all of the regular vanilla Dark Souls 2, so I haven't really played that far. This is my second build in Scholar of the First Sin. My first build was primarily a dex build that started to lean somewhat into strength. But anyways, I'm going to show you. I have not done any sort of leveling or anything. I've basically just ran straight from the tutorial over to Majula. And I've got sort of an outline that seems to help me out the couple of builds that I've done to kind of get the best start possible. So I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff out of order, not really the quote-unquote intended way to run through this, which with a Souls game, there's a lot of risk-reward. If you deviate from what's typically considered the correct way to play through if you're following a beginner's playthrough guide. But anyways, this is my character. Obviously, Uncle Kool-Aid rides once again, and we're the warrior class because I'm going to be primarily going strength on this one. My vanilla playthrough, I was a cleric, and I had a lot of fun with that back before when lightning was just insanely strong, lightning spear. So I'm going to try this the sword build, or the strength build, and probably gonna go with the good old claymore. I'm used to it. It's got a really good stabbing action. So anyways, we're here in Majula. This is sort of the hub world, and if you're not familiar with the game, it does not wrap up and all over itself and level design like Dark Souls 1. It's more spread out, kind of like a wagon wheel hub and spoke design. So Majula can be considered the hub, and everywhere else branches out, kind of sprawls out. Makes the world feel a lot bigger, but also it's very, like, there's no cool shortcuts or anything like that loop you back around. Anyways, let's get started. We're going to check the death count. It's a lot of deaths. So anyways, this is the Crestfallen Warrior, and I'm going to fast forward through he basically just kind of tells you what's going on here. And once you exhaust his dialogue, he lets you join the co-op covenant. The Blue Bros.
And wherever you each, if that do you the journey you'll face.
He's kind of telling us that things suck around here. Yes, going to join the Covenant because it gives you a ring that boosts your life a little bit.
That is all.
He's telling you that things are terrible.
Do you feel it suits me? It will.
I'm going to learn his amazing gesture.
Do you see? There was once you major, but don't forget.
And then he starts to kind of give little tidbits of surroundings and what's what.
Have you seen? I don't know. The flame, you see, they exist. If you had the flame long ago, she kept the. I wonder where. Did you notice any? These are intrangle, poignant. If you may notice these are. If you. Do you see the? There was one. You may, but don't.
Okay.
May you find peace on your journey.
I think that's everything. Go ahead and equip this ring. So, check our life. 826. and 850. So a little boost there. And I've got I am running ReShade on this, and I'll have the link to my config, which is not, I don't think it's perfect. I'm kind of new to ReShade, setting it up and tweaking everything, but I've got it more or less like a slightly better version of vanilla Dark Souls 2. A little bit more depth of field. It does kind of blur the user interface a little bit every now and then, but it's nothing too major. Nothing crazy going on, just a little extra anti-aliasing and things like that. This game isn't it's not very demanding graphically, so I'm running 1440p, 60 frames per second with tweaked ReShade. So main bonfire. Most of you probably know all this, but I'm just gonna kind of breeze through this a bit quickly. So she gives us our Estus. We get 1 to start off with, and like the Firekeeper in Dark Souls 3, and the
seek those their soul once you have so that hope.
What's her name? The Herald, or no, this is the Emerald Herald.
Bearer of the curse, seek lest this
Okay, like the what's her face in the Nexus and Demon Souls. She also levels you up. So quick tour. Not gonna spend too much time here. Gonna grab some items. There's the blacksmith who will upgrade our stuff and sell us some things. His house is locked, so we're going to go get the key. It's one of our earlier tasks in the game. And come on. And this is a giant pit. Eventually we'll be able to fall down there and progress through the game. This is a merchant.
Sorry, I could read.
So you can see he has some stuff for sale. We'll be buying the Falconer set, and the trick to this guy is that as you spend more money with him, he stocks more and more things. Free shard. The goal here with him is to spend enough. Usually if you buy the Falconer set, then he'll have the Elite Knight armor, which I want.
Oh,
So this is
undead, are we?
Shaquilor, the cat.
Well, oh yes. So, ooh.
She always likes the way we smell. So she talks about covenants and random things and just sort of a generic info dump from the cat. But the one thing that she has that we really want early in the game, if we want to get down the pit, is the cat ring. It lowers fall damage. Nothing else that she sells I really care for right now.
Well, that's dismay.
But yeah, the cat ring lets you get down the pit and survive the fall. And the reason that we want to kind of get down the pit relatively soon in the game is to get the RS armor set, which I really like. It's got a very good, in my opinion, very good weight to defense and poise ratio. One more thing here, this well. I'm gonna knock this. So the Estus Flash Sword is gonna Estus Flash Shards basically give you more swigs. So right now we can only drink one time. If you take the shards that you find to the Herald over here, each shard will give you 1 extra swig. And there's actually...
Bearer of lest this.
Okay. There's more shards in the world to find than what... So now we have 2. There's more shards in the world that you can find than what you can actually use to upgrade your flask. So even if you miss 1 or 2, I believe you can miss 2 and still end up upgrading to the max, which I think is 15. And there's one secret over here. Usually there's a bunch of notes on the ground, but this patch of grass lets you fall and get a couple more things. Mainly the mace. So let's see if I think we can probably two-hand the mace. Oh, we can one-hand it. We got enough strength. So this is a really good upgrade right off the bat for the warrior. Hurrah indeed. I'm gonna grab this and I'm gonna go back to the tutorial because there are some things. But the reason that I go to Majula first is because if you're playing through the tutorial, even if you're a beginner, if you skip the tutorial, you can automatically come back to the tutorial with 2 Estus flasks. So if you're learning how to fight in the game, and you know, kind of getting beat up a little bit in the tutorial, then you can rely on the Estus to kind of give you a little help. One thing I did grab was the torch over here. You can smash this and get the torch. So if you light the torch at the bonfire or at one of these sconces, this one comes pre-lit. So I'm going to go ahead and light this, and we're going to start lighting these. Now, unlike Dark Souls 3, your torch is not unlimited. It does run out, but there are certain places where you can farm torches to get more, and they're really not that necessary in the majority of the game. There are some areas, like specifically the gutter, which is a huge help. You do need a torch there to kind of light the place up. But by and large, you're not going to be using the torch a whole lot, so it's not really that big of a deal. So here comes a tutorial. It's basically just beat up guys. And I'm going to be lighting these torches as I go through the tutorial, because one of the changes which I discovered the hard way is that when you light all of them, it spawns a invader NPC into your world. And down there we kind of get a quick glimpse at what used to be kind of an optional early enemy, and there's a second one over kind of where my hair is around the corner that you could try to fight early in the game if you wanted to. There's a third one in the tutorial area that we will be fighting, but not right now because it's not totally necessary. Okay, so every Souls game has trading that you can do. So this is where the trading crows are in this game. So they're not hidden at all, which I guess kind of is a good thing, so new players won't feel like they missed anything. But I really like the way they cleverly hid the crows in Dark Souls 3, and also in Dark Souls 1 back at the Asylum. That was pretty neat. So anyways, they want smooth and silky things, and I picked the Petrified Something as my starting gift. So what you do is you go in your inventory and you select leave, not discard. If you hit discard, then it's going to destroy it and it's gone forever. So I'm going to leave it, close the inventory, and they're happy. Okay. And what we get? Chandler's Trident. Oh, this is going to be good. We get the victory dance with this. So this is a totally randomized... it's a randomized drop. And the wiki page has all of the potential items that they can drop listed. There's a great hammer. I think that's what my very first build ended up getting. I got a petrified dragon bone with my dex build. There's a white ring that you can get that lets you changes your appearance when you're invading. Let's see what else. Different types of Titanite, I believe. But it's all totally randomized, and there's different types of smooth and silky or petrified objects that you can give them. And I believe based on the type of object they give you will dictate the kind of the category of, or the quality of item type that they'll drop. I believe that's how it works. And those little stone tablets kind of have your instructions on them, like suggestions and controls, and hit this to do this type stuff. Okay, so that wraps up what all we can do in the tutorial right now. One thing that they changed was they added a petrified hollow guy right there that used to not be there. And they also added the basilisk enemies that can petrify you or curse you. Not petrified. They can petrify you. There's a couple of them over there, and there's another one over there, and then there's a hole in the ground behind the archer guy with more of them, and a little ledge that you climb up that takes you out to where those big ogre things were. So nothing much we can do about that right now. What we can do is see about trying to go deal with the ogre by the waterfall. Let's see, I don't think I've talked to her yet.
This is a limb, fair travel. Why out this lot? My name is the Old Women.
So basically, these are old firekeepers, and she kind of takes care of them.
The old women, but now, and the king. The old long ago, but now. The old women long ago, but now.
Okay, let's go up here. Can get a human effigy, which basically turns you from hollow into human, kind of like the Ember in Dark Souls 3. So, and like in Dark Souls 3, when you're human, you can summon players or NPCs, and you can be invaded. So that small, smooth and silky stone, I can go trade that with the crows for an item. There's a hidden path over here. And some big footsteps left by a big thing. Now, as long as you're not running, maybe if you're sprinting, this guy does not aggro. You can just walk over here all calm and grab it, and then walk away. Or you can fight him. One, two, three. Oh, so death number one. He hits hard and his range is extreme, and the Mesa's range is not extreme. So, not critical that I take care of him right away. He gives you a ring that decreases enemy poise as you hit him. I'll come back for him later. So, like in Dark Souls 3, you can fast travel pretty much right out of the gates. The reason for that is that the world design really does not facilitate running around everywhere the way Dark Souls 1 did. In Dark Souls 1, because the world was so compact and interwoven, you had shortcuts unlocking everywhere, and it really wasn't a big deal to run back and forth everywhere. But in this game, it would be terrible. So, okay, I've got everything that I needed in Majula, and the next stop is Forest of the Fallen Giants. Now, occasionally I will go to Hyde's Tower of Flame, which is off in the distance over in the sea, and kill the Dragon Rider, but I'm not going to do that right now. Usually I'll kill the Dragon Rider and use his souls to get the cat ring, and then take the cat ring down into the gutter and get the RS armor and the bone shard down where the exploding guys are, and I'll grab the bonfire for the Grave of Saints. Quite a bit that I'll do down there, but it's coming up relatively soon. But I'm going to do a couple of things in the forest first. Optional jump here. So in Scholar the First Sin, they did add new enemies, and this ogre in this river is one of them. And kind of like the other one, he doesn't really aggro unless you get up in his face. He sort of leaves you alone. These hollows can be a pain because they're relentless in their attacking. Their attack animation, they just swing and flail for a very long time, and if you get caught with more than one of them flailing at you, then you can get stuck in a nasty kind of get flanked and get ganged on really quickly. So these guys drop life gems, and life gems function essentially the way that grass functioned in Demon Souls. And up here can be a rough area up here. There are a lot of enemies, but the way the game handles this, because it's still very early in the game, it lets you pick and choose how difficult this area is. Your ultimate goal is to get over there through the fog gate to progress through this area. However, there are items scattered around, and there are dead bodies scattered around. But the rule of thumb for this game is that if you see a body on the ground without an item, it's not a dead body. Every one of these guys that doesn't have an item glowing on them, they're going to be alive. And you can take your time. Sort of. One thing that I did forget is how much stamina this stinking mace consumes when you swing. So there's a guy that's going to be coming down here, so just go back down. Otherwise he'll kick you off. I'll pick that up later. I'm coming back this way. So those guys, the swordsmen, they can wreck you early game in a hurry if you aren't careful. And the reason for that is because they hit really hard. So I'm gonna I still can't believe I got the trident. This whole area is because it's got like this little like dance word. Let's see. Okay, so this long sword's gonna, or short sword's gonna, it's gonna be a little bit better because it's gonna let me swing faster and it's gonna consume less stamina. Just overall be a better weapon until we get the club. So I'm gonna continue. Check these not dead bodies. So as long as you kind of take your time around here, and I've only played through this area twice and really didn't fool with it the second time. As long as you take your time, these guys can be fairly manageable. So that poking attack can be particularly powerful if you use it right as the enemy. So 119, 130. So if you can hit the enemy right after they swing, it will do extra damage. Which, if you combine that with the Leo ring, which boosts that damage, then anything that thrust like that can be counter damage that can be particularly powerful, as I think it gets more powerful each attack. In this room, there are 3 guys. One's hiding behind the crates, and then there's 2 guys right there. I don't think I picked up anything I can throw at them yet. So I'm going to lure them out. So there's a guy right around the corner there. Oh crap, oh crap. Yep. Okay, so this next part can suck if you're just a pure melee character, because there's a couple of nasty things up here. There's a guy shooting arrows at you, there's a hollow soldier up there, and he's going to throw firebombs at you, and then when you get up there, there's a regular hollow infantry guy, as well as a second, or a guy with a crossbow up on a wall that you can't get to. So yeah, this part stinks. I'd say that went fairly well. But there's still a guy right there. And up here is our next bonfire. Through these doors. So a lot of these enemies, they have 3 swings. You saw that guy swing 3 times and then he was kind of done. A lot of the enemies have a very familiar, or very specific 3 swing pattern. So grab this. And here's our next merchant. A couple of things we need to buy. Club. For that A scaling, as well as the merchant hat, which is going to increase the item drops. 2 more things we do need. Lindergrass key, that's going to open up our blacksmith's house so you can repair and upgrade stuff. A firebomb, and we also will need to get both of these, which the fragrant branch is kind of optional, but I always get it because it lets me get, it's going to let me get to the weapon that I plan to use most of the game, the claymore. Claymore is kind of behind a petrified person, and those fragrant branches of yore are used to unpetrify. So she's been here a long time. Keep talking to her. More lore dump here. So once we beat the boss in this area, the undead giant, she's gonna go back to Majula. Now, this wall can be blown up. Typically, it's blown up from the other side with the explosive barrels, but there is a way to blow it up here. If you look down between this second and third up against the wall and throw it down at your feet, it actually triggers that barrel explosion to open up a shortcut. So that is way easier to do than to try and rely on that guy to throw a firebomb at the barrels and not hit you also. As well as there's a particularly nasty turtle knight, or ironclad. I call him a turtle knight because he looks like he's got a turtle shell on his back. That'll be chasing you around while the guy shoots firebombs at you. So these guys are kind of like the first shield guys in the Undead Burg. Let's see. I'm gonna pull this guy away from him. 1, 2, 3. Alright. Those guys are optional at this point to kill, but free souls. Okay, next step. Upstairs. Oh, we're gonna light our torch. So right now I'm doing 145. Switch to my club. 169. Locked, you say? Upgrades. So there are mimics in this game, like in the first game. One swing. Do not swing more than once because you can destroy the chest. And if you destroy the chest, you lose the item forever. Now there are indestructible indestructible iron chests in the game with more important objects in them. You're not even trying to be dead. So there are iron chests in the game like this one right here with more important items that you can't destroy. I'm kind of sad that there is no longer a Estus shard in that chest the way they used to be. Okay. So the next step, I'm going to head down here. I'm going to grab another item, another weapon, which may end up being a better item than this club. So up here you can kind of see what's what. You can't get to that right now unless you do a kind of a tricky jump, which I'm not even going to attempt, because you pretty much die if you miss it. So there's some hollow guys down there, and you can see kind of blends in with the ground, but there's a turtle right where the end of this beam is. And then there's one cave right there where my hat is, and then another one right there, and in that second cave there's a fire-infused sword. So that sword is what we're going to go to next. Oh crap. Oh, hilarious. One thing to note, my health bar is lower. As you die in this game, you lose health. You lose total maximum health that you can have. The only way to increase it is to use a human effigy to go back human again, or unhollowed again, and it'll reset it. So every time you die, you lose a little bit each time, up to, I believe, losing 50% maybe. There is a ring in Hyde's Tower of Flame that will limit that to, I believe, 25%. Again, I'm just kind of guessing based on what I was seeing when I was playing, but I believe that's kind of how that ring works. Throwing knife, yes. Throwing knives are very strong early in the game. They do about as much damage as your main weapon. Keep swinging those. They're worth about 100 damage per knife. And I could use it on this guy, but he's really not that hard if you know his pattern. I want to see if I can get this guy to come out though. No. Well. I really don't want to have to deal with both these guys. Oh well. Wait for him to go back up. So you kind of bait this guy into swinging. And that's pretty much all there is to it. He's got a couple of moves. He's got, if you're directly behind him, he will basically just fall back on his back, squash you. He has an overhead slam where he's standing. That's the easiest one to bait him into doing. But he has a long recovery. He has a long recovery time for his attack, so you have an opportunity to get usually one swing in before you roll back, because he's going to have his second attack ready to go by then. And then he has one where he runs at you with it over his head, ready to overhead slam, and that can kind of be the tricky one to get because you can't poise through it, as far as I know, at least not in this point in the game. Maybe with a great shield and heavy armor you can, but by the time you have that stuff in the game, they're 1 or 2 hits, easy kills. So anyways, this cave can be tricky, but it's all about the timing, all about taking your time, knowing what to expect. And my prize. Okay, so the fire sword is stronger than the club. I'm gonna wait for his attack. There's one more. There's the rollback. I thought he was going to do that right when I jumped up. Okay, so that's one type of attack. He has another one where he kind of swings fast. There's this one where he runs at you. And his multiple swing attack, that's the one that can mess you up. Because he doesn't really use it that often, at least not that I've seen. So this area is just about finished up. A couple of items. You can die if you miss this jump. So you do have the option here to homeward bone or climb up here and kind of slog back through the firebomb guy, archer, second archer, and things like that. So before I go, I'm gonna buy the key. Let's see if we can get 3,000 souls. Yeah. Oh, it's 4,000.
Lively.
Go ahead and get the lockstone. Okay, so down this way we're going to use this lockstone. I'm going to be very careful not to swing my sword because it's made of fire. It can and will trigger those barrels to explode. Two, three. So the room that leads to the lockstone is pretty nasty. I'm gonna go talk to Pate real quick. This guy is kind of like the patches
Hello there. Well,
of Dark Souls 2.
My name is. I journey.
At least in this little part.
There. Oh yeah, there's treasure in there for certain, but the entrance locks from behind. I saw this. I was with the rather. I still have. I'll leave this one to you.
Okay. So, you know, predictably if you go through there it's going to close and it's going to be a trap, so we're going to not do that. Instead, we're going to avoid the temptation of going for those and go to the left. how did he survive that? Tell you what, I'm just gonna get on out of here. Oh, I heard him. If these guys fall down, they're easy to pick off, you know, one at a time. But these things are what the Pharaoh's Lockstones are used for. Usually they are pretty good in terms of like things that they give you. This one in particular gives you a Titanite slab. And stamina ring. So we're going to go ahead and put that stamina ring on. That's going to help. Now, this is not a mimic, but it is a trap chest. It's always a trap, and it randomizes between a couple of different types of traps. You have a poison cloud, which if you roll backwards, you can avoid. And you have the option of it being a crossbow. So we're going to see which when we get crossbow. Oof. Totally went the wrong direction. It shoots it in like 9 different directions. And usually we want to try to get like right here because it fires directly in front of it, then this way, and then this way, kind of in a circular design or direction. Here's another trick. Get him out of that doorway. 1, 2, 3. There's one more guy in here. As well as another valuable ring. And that's why I did not pick the life ring as my starting gift. So I have 850, 893. So small amounts for sure, but every little bit helps at this point in the game. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna make sure this connects. Oh, golly. Please come down. Two, 3. And a couple items to get. So those hollow soldiers, they can be a real pain early in the game, and they can mess you up really good, really quickly. What? Okay, so usually there's a bunch of explosive barrels down here, but apparently some explosive, somebody already ignited them. That's one less thing for me to worry about. Oh god. We'll be coming back to this guy later. Much later. And up here we have two options. There's one option to go that way, which is the advisable way for Pate's Trap. And there's this way, which has a couple of items. And some undead guys over there. So I don't know if I can use this thing yet. Oh, I can. And they give you that for a reason. You see behind him, there's a goodie bag. And you can see through the hole there, but there is one more guy down there that we can't get to. Mysterious shadow. Okay. Ah. I can't quite remember what that is, but I don't ever recall being excited about it, so I'm gonna ignore that for now. Aggro these guys one at a time. There's like random enemies dying. Oh, good gracious. Where'd he go? Where's he going? He just ran off. It was like... Was he supposed to be somewhere else? Where... Places, everyone. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. That was really weird. I've never seen that before. And I've never seen these pre-exploded either. Strange things. I'm gonna come back in there. There's some some stuff I'm missing. Just want to open this. It doesn't open from the other side. There's a ladder right there back up to the merchant's bonfire. And that elevator leads you down to the boss. Here is the one and only large leather shield, which I can't believe From never nerfed this, but anyways, we have half the weight and better defense pretty much all around, specifically in physical damage reduction. And this shield was just awesome early game defense from day one of the game. You can see got a turtle guy. Oof. Yeah, he's using that multi-swing like crazy. Okay, definitely to chill out. I've honestly never seen those guys swing like that so many times in a row. Alright, and here's the infamous sword from the E3 demo where the throwing axe guy came through, but instead we've got these guys. If you don't know that they're there, then you basically have to fight them way up here, and they can get nasty. They just drop down from that ledge, so if you go out just past the edge of the building and then come back, then it triggers them to jump down. Let's see, I haven't been here yet. And here are the fire lizards. You can make that fall with the cat ring. You can basically fall off the edge here onto that pile of rubble and get the... There's some goodies down there. That door is currently locked. And from up here you can use spells or arrows or crossbows and chip away at that guy's health and get the treasure behind him and the item next to the fire column and the item over there. But I don't have nearly enough arrows to do that, so I'm not gonna. That didn't work. So I'm gonna go ahead and start lighting a couple of sconces here. There's one of them over there I need to light for later. Alright, this is another kind of can get players in a bind pretty quickly. Mainly because you're getting shot at by archers the whole time. So you kind of have to do your best to hide. Wait for this guy to come over here. So I'll show you there's one up there. That guy up there. And there's another one or two. Ooh. I just need to... Oh crap. Alright. That could have gone way worse. Not exactly where I wanted to be, but I needed to be down here anyways to get this. Oh, hello. I think that fire longsword probably had one more hit before it broke, and my fear was that it would, that it was going to break before I kill that guy, and have to basically just hit him with fists. Alright, lots of bloodstains, lots of new players sprinting straight ahead for this item. And this is the last guy that we need to talk to, but first, I'm going to take care of this pest. So this guy is basically... he's the cartographer, and we're going to just basically just whip through all of his dialogue. He's weird and crazy, and he likes maps.
Here.
That's what we need.
What a joy to meet a...
So that key is to the big mansion in Majula next to the pit. And there's a couple of important items in there. Ready for revenge. Yep. I think that's been the message there since release day. And I'm not even going to try to go up there because it's another one of those turtle knights and archers and the firebomb guy. And I've already opened up the shortcut by the explosive barrels. That's basically, it loops back around to the explosive barrel. That tree branch leads you up right up here. So that's kind of... Let's see if I forgot anything here. No. Okay. So now if we rest, Leningrass will be in this shop. we'll be able to...
You, the names, and you are a man not rope bone. You're equipped.
I'm gonna reinforce this fire sword. Okay, I need one more shard.
I'll be around if you make it back.
So we might have enough to buy... Oh, a shard, duh. Can buy them from him.
What?
Alright. I'm not going to use this. I'm going to leave it at +3. +3's going to easily carry us as far as we need to go with this weapon. So for comparison's sake, here's the difference. 169, 237. So it's going to be hitting significantly harder. I don't think I have enough souls to buy anything from Maglaglin.
Oh, hello.
Oh, I do. I'm gonna go ahead and buy these.
Thanks very much.
So it's gonna start giving us some poise. So you can see it goes from 0 to 8. The Falconer stuff is pretty good in terms of offering some poise, as well as semi-decent physical reduction. Better than starting equipment, at least. So that is going to wrap it up. Aside from the Pursuer, maybe, possibly. That's going to wrap it up for this video. Just basically kind of clearing out the Forest of Giants. I will probably go fight the giant. I'll tell you what. Let's go ahead and take care of him. This fire sword is going to make pretty quick work of him. And we're also gonna... Oh, we gotta go finish up Pate's trap so that we can summon him. Two hits instead of 4. Definitely good. Definitely good. It's actually probably easier to go the other way. We're gonna go the other way, and I'll see you guys at the ladder. So if we would have gone, I'll show you what would have happened. If we would have just straight up just gone through the gate here, it's gonna trigger shutting, and they would all fall out of the door, spill out, and start killing you. So going up the ladder is a way to deal with those guys sort of at your own pace, and it's easier to get them on the staircase and get them from behind. No secret. I think it's sorcery stuff here, so don't need it. At least not yet. Who knows? Maybe we'll invest in the soul vessel respec.
Well, I see you managed to escape. I hope that brave warrior didn't come a cropper either. Be careful out there. There's talk of unsavory bandits who prey upon travelers like yourself.
Mm-hmm. The unsavory individual he mentioned is Creighton.
Oh. But you should take this.
We're gonna meet him later. There's our white
It
sand
allows
soapstone.
undead to call out for help to one another. With luck, somebody... Well, I hope...
So now that we've finished Pate's stuff, let me double check and make sure that... I think she has the little small white soapstone. No, she didn't have that.
Lively time.
Now that we've finished his... little intro thing, we can go back to being human. And... we're not at 70 yet, so we can still roll. So yeah, now that we're human, you can see all the other players' signs. But the only sign we're interested in is Pate's son, so that we can summon him for the giant. And keep him alive. That's the other trick. You can't let him die to the giant. And we will get the iron key much later in the game to open that. So you have two summons here. You have Pate, which we're going to go ahead and grab him. Then you have Sellsword Lute. Probably don't need him. Don't think that I can... yeah, can't buff this. But I will go ahead. Use this. And here we go. And he's mad. So you can target legs. Ugh, squish. Oof. So the trick, stay behind him. And just hammer away on the legs. Real easy. Pate pretty much draws all the aggro for the guy. A good day, Sir Giant. So yeah, really easy bosses, you know, as long as you just stay behind the dude. And this key is going to open up a couple of things. First of which, there's a door over on the other side of the bridge over the salamanders. Let's see if those are any good. A little poise, way less damage reduction. No thanks. It's not much, but it's going to help a little bit. So you can see it's slowly but surely going up. If you're just getting your butt kicked and can get away from enemy aggro, and you're out of healing items, then you can basically just hide and let this thing refill your health and then kind of get back to it. But because we don't have any other ring to fill the slot, we're gonna keep it on. Now here is one of the king's doors. You can't get this until much later in the game. However, you can kill that guy in hopes of him dropping a piece of his armor. These are the Cyan Knights, and their armor has extremely high fire resistance. Now these guys are kind of like the Black Knights in Dark Souls 1, in that they're relatively easy to parry if you can get the timing right. They're also very easy to backstab, and they also hit really hard at this point in the game. I'm gonna try to fish for this backstab. Got it. So you can see these guys have tons of health. They have a very slow recovery from their attack. Gotcha. Roll the dice. Nothing. Unfortunately, I love how dead enemies just randomly flop around when you go back in a room with them. Unfortunately, he does not respawn unless you burn a bonfire ascetic, which essentially brings the entire area up to New Game Plus. So unless you know exactly what you're doing, I would not recommend burning a bonfire ascetic just to farm that guy. Most people would be leveling up by now, but I want the armor because I think that... Okay, that was really all it needed to be just boots, and that was it. Sweet! Okay, so... Think about that. And... I'm gonna get those. That's
Thanks very much.
probably gonna put me right at 70. Oh, ouch. Oh. Okay. Actually, with the short bow. Oh. I need 12 decks to use that, so let's go see if I can get that leveled up real quick. But I think that better defense in terms of physical reduction and poise is a better survivability. Better survivability attribute than actual health. Especially at this point in the game, you're not going to get hardly any health from leveling up. So I needed... what's that? Was it 13? Double check. Oh, 12, okay. So I'll go ahead and spend the rest in Vitality. Now that I've got good defense. And last but not least, I'm gonna go finish up here in the mansion. And then I'll call it a day for this video. Ferrous Lockstone. Huge book. That noise you hear are 3 little pigs. They're down around the other side from the well. Right down there. I don't think that those guys ever lose aggro. I could be mistaken, but I don't think that they do. Alright, so here's Kale's map room, the cartographer guy that we met in the cave with the boulder. But he's not going to come here until we kill the skeleton down here, who again does not respawn. And like in Dark Souls 1, these guys are not fun early in the game. But a +3 fire longsword. Don't play around. There we go. One important item. And the soul vessel, which allows us to go back to those old ladies and things betwixt. And one of them will let you hand her the soul vessel, and you can use that to do a respec. So pretty handy. And the hag has made her way here. Nothing particularly new, but there are infinite throwing now, so I'm going to buy some of those.
Thank you.
And that will wrap it up for this first video of the Dark Souls 2 playthrough. And in the next video, I have a choice to make. Either go to let's see, continue through the Forest of Giants and take on the Pursuer in one of 2 locations, and then go to Lost Bastille, or go to Hyde's Tower, kill the Dragon Rider, make everybody mad, and then go to No Man's Wharf, and then to Lost Bastille. Because I want the Aris armor really badly, I'm probably going to go to Hyde's Tower first, as well as No Man's Wharf, in preparations for the Gutter and Black Gulch. So anyways, we'll see you guys in the next video. Good day.